Trey.
Hey, Mum.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm great, thanks. How are you?
That's good. So today I decided to do a podcast about mediumship and what can a person, recipient, expect when they come for a mediumship reading. So that's what we're going to be talking about.
Okay, cool. And so we'll start off at the top, as we always do.
Yeah.
What is a mediumship reading?
A mediumship reading. So I said before that how I work is that when people come and see me, I ask them if they want a psychic reading, which is more about guidance for their life, or about mediumship, which is contact from the other world, from the other side. It's really good to ascertain that, because even though some people may have loads of spirits around them, they just solely want guidance for their life.
Mm-hmm.
So with purely a mediumship reading is that they want someone to come through, or they want to talk to the spirit world.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they've got in mind when they turn up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what a mediumship reading is. Basically, a mediumship reading is someone or people with people they knew that they loved who have passed over. They've gone to the other side. They come through. They give evidence of who they are, so the person knows who they are, and they follow that up with a message. That's generally what that's what you should expect if you wanted a mediumship reading.
Right, okay. And so you talked about, there'll be multiple spirits around them.
Yeah.
My guess is that someone coming for a mediumship reading is like they want someone quite specific. They might not want their old next door neighbour that they didn't really speak to, but maybe their mum has passed away, so they want their mum to come through, or, as an example.
Yeah.
Is this possible?
Yeah, so generally when people come, they have an intention. They have an intention before they come for a reading, and they think, especially if they're very sad, if they're very grieved, they really hoping, and I'll be the same, wanting that person to come through. So generally that's what they come for.
Okay.
Yeah, that intent. They have that intention in mind.
Okay, and how can the client help the medium with this?
Okay, help the medium. I think first of all, I want to say that you can't expect a spirit to come through. So first of all, you have to be open that maybe the medium doesn't pick up the person straight away, and don't be disappointed if that happens. I had something like that recently, and it was really interesting because someone did come through for them, and and it wasn't. I described them. And it ended up being their son. I thought it was their friend at first because they came through like a friend, but this father had like a friendship with his son.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, first of all, I think that they can have an intention, they can ask, but I think they have to be open to realising that the person that they want to come through at first may not come through. And there's a way a medium can deal with that. So if you've got an intention for someone to come through, there's a way the medium can deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's the expectation. So I think the sitter says, I really talk to them, say, Mum, Dad, your friend, I'd love you to come through today to Kerry Marie. Mm-hmm. Have that intention, and then when you turn up at the reading, hopefully, as me as a medium, I'll pick up on that person.
Should the recipient tell the medium who they want to come through?
I don't mind if they do.
Mm-hmm.
Generally what happens though for me in that circumstances, where it's really clever, so generally what happens is that person's already connected with me. So quite often before someone even turns up for a reading with me, I've already picked up on that person quite often.
Yeah.
If the recipient wants to tell me, that's up to them. Personally, I prefer not to know.
Okay.
The less I know, the more evidential it is.
Sure.
Yeah, but I'm not going to control the sitter or the recipient.
Okay.
If they really want to say, I want so-and-so to come through.
Yeah.
But generally, when you go to a medium, you should, what you're expecting to happen is someone from the other side will come through, give evidence about themselves, and they give messages. But hopefully, and you can never promise, that there's a person that you wanted to come through will come through.
Okay. And what shouldn't they do? The recipient.
What shouldn't they do?
Yeah.
Well, the first thing is, I think what they shouldn't do is I think get skeptical, because I feel what happens when give the medium a chance.
Mm-hmm.
The medium is not asking, they're not fishing.
Yeah.
You're not asking, mediums are asking for information. They're generally needing confirmation.
Yeah.
The medium gets confirmation, it builds the energy.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're too skeptical and you sort of like fold your arms and you pull faces and you get really skeptical, and just doesn't everybody tell? Well, one thing I can't stand people say, doesn't every medium say that? It's a real put down to the medium.
Mm-hmm.
And we're human beings, and it affects your energy.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes you struggle, makes it a lot harder because you've got to be quite a high vibration to connect to the spirit world.
Mm-hmm.
Remembering that the information from spirit is very subtle. I can't see them like I can see you. They're very subtle. It's their energies that I'm pressing upon my aura. I'm picking up on what I feel, see, and hear.
Mm-hmm.
And they will give me information that I can relate to.
Yeah.
It's the back of your head, you had your occiput, and there has all this knowledge and information that you contain in the back of your brain. And a spirit will use information you know. So you might get a name near to that person, that sort of thing. So I think closing the medium down and being really skeptical is a really bad thing to do. I think another thing that a recipient shouldn't do is actually tell people too much. So I will start bringing through evidence of a loved one or a spirit, and they'll start telling me everything. And it can be quite frustrating because I've already been given that evidence. I
Right.
already felt that before, so it's not evidential then. If they've already told me, there's no evidence in it.
Sure.
So they talk too much, and it also engages the medium's mind, but it also, engages the medium, and the medium's not able to, with the evidence, and it's like you have to sort of keep going back and connecting with spirit, and it'd be quite hard work when someone talks too much. But the other thing is if they say nothing, if they keep their mouth shut and they say, I'm not going to give you anything, you tell me, that's quite difficult for a medium as well, because that person's closing the energy down, and it becomes a power struggle. So it's a power struggle between the medium and the sitter. It's not like that. It's from spirit, through spirit, to spirit. So the sitter needs to ask the person from spirit to come through, have that intention. They need to be open. They need to give confirmation, some information. You can always give information afterwards. And but they've also been too negative and skeptical and cynical. It's just, mediums are quite sensitive people. They're working with their senses, and that's not going to help the sitter, and it's not going to help the medium either, because they're going to get really uptight and they won't be able to be relaxed, and they're going to allow the information to flow through them.
Okay, makes sense. So they need to work with a
Absolutely.
medium. Yeah.
Well, say if you go along to a travel agent and you say, I'm looking to travel to somewhere on holiday, and they say, well, where do you want to go? I say, I don't know. You tell me. It's just, it's awful. I don't know if you've ever done the exercise where I've done it in meetings, business meetings, on workshops and things, and the other person doesn't give you any feedback.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
It's very difficult. So same for medium.
Yeah.
It's a conversation from spirit through spirit to spirit, and they're listening to you as well. So it sort of has to flow between the two.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. And so when someone's really open and they just confirm things and they're enjoying it, the medium enjoys it, so does the spirit, everything flows a lot better.
Yeah, I understand that. Okay. And so why do spirits make contact?
Because they make contact because of love. They love love. So they make contact because they may know the person's extremely worried or grieved, and they want to let them know that they're okay, they're in a good place. They want to communicate just like they did on the earth. They still love them. They want the person to trust that they're going to be okay. That's why they communicate. And sometimes they communicate because they want to show us guidance or show us the way. They want to communicate sometimes because they also want to warn us at times. I've talked about warnings and signs from spirit. So for all sorts of reasons, but mainly because of love, because they're still around you and they're connected to you and they love you.
Right, makes sense. So they send signs through During the reading, not just outside of the...
They can sow signs in the reading, during the readings, anytime in your life. They send songs, they send birds, they send feathers, all sorts of things. Yeah, they sow signs, or they work with clocks. I did a demonstration recently, and the spirit told me about a watch, and the recipient says, my father plays on my watch all the time.
Oh,
and he
fun.
knows it's his dad. Yeah.
Right. Hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely.
If someone was in a mediumship reading and they
Yeah.
wanted their loved one to come through and they're not coming through, what should they do, or what does the medium do?
Well, generally, I don't say to someone, who do you want to come through? I never say that as a medium, because to
Yeah.
me that's not evidential.
Yeah.
If they give it to me, if they really want to, I'm fine with that too, if that's what they want to do. But if I get to a point in a reading about 3/4 of the way through, and I did have one this week with someone else actually, and a lot of spirit had come through for this person, and they really wanted those people to come through, but they were hoping that this one person had come through, and they hadn't come through.
Mm-hmm.
So what the sitter can do is they can speak up, and or the medium can say, is there any other questions? And it's up to the recipient to communicate, because we're not mind readers. You might think we are, we're not. And the recipient needs to say, look, I was really hoping that my dad, my friend, my sister would come through. And that you can say that to the medium.
Mm-hmm. And that normally helps it?
Yes, so generally I find a situation like that, I sort of wished I'd actually brought them through, or at times I've realised that maybe at the beginning of the reading or partway through the reading they were trying to come through, because sometimes the spirit world comes through as a collective. So they can all talk over each other, like it's going into a crowded room and one talks, another walks. So they might have already tried to come through.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the medium hasn't picked that up, or the person hasn't picked up on the recipient when they were trying to come through.
Mm-hmm.
But what I generally do, I just put as a medium, I just put my logical mind and I put my awareness out, and I reach out to the spirit world and say, please bring this person through. And then it can be very subtle, and usually I've never had it not work actually. And what I do is I start bringing evidence through of that person, and we start building the evidence of that person. It could be also the person's a really polite person. So the person might be really polite and not a pushy person. It could be that they're a really quiet person. So when your personality is exactly the same when you go to spirit. If you're a quiet person on earth, you're going to be a quiet person in spirit. So they may not be pushy, or they may be quieter. Or you may just need to invite them to come through. I would never say to someone, I'd never want to disappoint you. I never want to disappoint anybody. But I say to someone, I cannot say ever 100% that your loved one will come through.
Mm-hmm.
But generally they do.
Have they even not?
For me personally, that's never happened.
Mm-hmm.
But I have found some more difficult than others.
All right.
Yeah. But if you think about Sensi Murder, if you watch it, it's been on recently, you have to bring through a specific spirit. They want their name, they want the age of their passing, how they passed, who murdered them, where's their body, the dates, all sorts of things. They want facts. And that's quite a lot of responsibility and weight on the medium's shoulders.
Yeah.
Because it's difficult. You search for information. You've got to be given the information.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, but generally, just request, and even at the Arthur College under SNU, they gave us that question. They said, there's nothing wrong, allow, and if that person hasn't come through, just give it a go, because normally the medium should be able to get it.
Yeah.
Generally.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You've spoken about the importance of evidence before. Why do spirits give evidence?
Because how can you believe it otherwise? If someone said, if you sat down and said, oh, my mother's passed, and she comes through, oh, yeah, the mother loves you. I mean, that could be evidential, I don't know, but it's not likely to be evidential. So they're actually wanting you to know without a doubt that it's them, because it helps you with your grief process as well, because anybody can tell you anything. And if they don't, I've had readings about people know that I've lost people, and someone said, "Oh, your brother's here," and blah 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 blah. I've almost found it insulting because they knew that my brother had passed, and it's not evidential at all.
Right.
I don't believe that they're connecting to spirit world. So the spirit world is real. The other world is real, and they want to convince you that they're there. And I've experienced this myself, and I've talked about it before with Meg Simpson. When my mum had died, I was very grieved. And what happened was I found my mum's glasses before I went. And I thought, whose glasses? And someone said, they're your mum's glasses. And Meg brought through this lady, and it's everything about my mother. A little lady, Catholic, religious, all sorts of things about her. That was my mum. Had breast cancer, everything. And it was like, yeah, that's my mum, that's my mum. And then she said this one thing, and she said, you've got her glasses. And it was like, oh my God, that was amazing. And that evidence was a piece of evidence that was given to my mum. It was solid, and it was given to my mum. My mum gave it to the medium because I needed that. I needed something very real to be convinced, and I just slept like a baby because I wasn't worried about my mum anymore. I knew my mum was okay.
Right.
And it was so real.
Yeah.
And it was so important for me.
Yeah.
So I think the evidence it has to be like it's a science. We talked to Reese Wynne Davies. It's a science. It's spiritualism is a science, a religion, and a philosophy. But that scientific side is really important. It is the only religion that has scientific proof. Everything else is just on creed and doctrine, what someone else has told you. Whereas in spiritualism and mediumship, we're proving life after life through evidential mediumship. We're giving the evidence of the other world to make it real.
So do you think a mediumship reading helps or fixes grief?
Oh,
in that regards?
hugely. If you don't give evidence, then it can be quite weak. The person can be left doubting. I feel really upset if I do a reading and someone said, well, I'm pretty sure that was my dad, or I'm pretty sure that was so-and-so. I've realised that I haven't given solid enough evidence to that person.
Yeah. But if they got the evidence, you think it helps?
Hugely, because it does. Because what it does, they've got certainty. I mean, there's something with Libby Clark when I was over at the Arthur Finney College, and we did a group reading. All these mediums are giving evidence, and just one medium talked about a pistol. And the pistol was what you called a cameo. And this guy had this thing about a pistol. He even had a pistol on his letterbox. Everybody had pistols that went to the funeral. It was so evidential. There's no doubt. And by getting this huge, amazing evidence, what really good evidence is, it's something that nobody else would know.
Yeah, right. So getting that evidence shows you that they're still alive.
Yes.
Not in the physical world, but in the spiritual world, and that helps people's grief.
Hugely. And you just answered a question for me, because one of the things that the spirit world says to me, because I must get a bit frustrated seeing people, because they're not nearly as grieved as what the person living is. They're in a better place. And they say, and they almost get a bit sort of like, it's like the spirit world wants to get the recipient and shake them and say, I'm here. And what they say, I'm alive, I'm not dead. It's just my body that's not here, but I'm still here. And because we can't see electricity, we can see sparks sometimes, but just because you can't see a satellite, or you can't necessarily see electricity, or you can't see oxygen, or you can't see certain things, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And it does exist.
Yeah.
And so we are this physical being. We're very physical. We're very material. We're in this third dimension. And the only way we can truly believe is have that concrete evidence. And they know that.
Yeah.
And they want to give it to you as well, because they know that you need that.
Yeah.
And it's fair enough, because I feel that you need that evidence because they want to be represented properly. They want to be represented properly, and they don't want some weak evidence giving. They want the medium to give through real and true and accurate evidence to the recipient, so they know without any doubt that they truly exist.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And so after they give this evidence and the recipient knows that they exist, will they be passing messages to them?
Yes, because I quite often find that mediums struggle with messages. Some mediums are really, really good at giving the evidence, and that's it. And I find the messages are incredible. They really are incredible, and they can give some amazing peace to the person at that time, because something I think that I tend to suffer a lot from anxiety at one point, and my dad came through amazing medium. He gave such good evidence, and why I was getting anxiety was because of I wasn't believing in what I believed in my own thoughts, and I was getting affected by other people's opinions, and I didn't tell anybody that. In fact, I didn't know why I was getting anxious myself. And he knew, and he came through and he communicated, and he said, people's opinions are just opinions. That's all they are. You're allowed to think for yourself. And it was a huge relief, because I was brought up in this very strict Catholic family that you had to think a certain way. You weren't allowed to have an opinion. So my father was giving me this gift of opinions, of thinking for myself. And there was another time he came through mediums, and he, because I work in a male industry with my husband, even though I do mainly full-time mediumship, I also help my husband with electrical business, and it's a lot of male energy, and he was concerned about all the male energy, because I grew up with 5 brothers, and he could see I was a sensitive person, and he was telling me to protect myself from that male energy, that it wasn't healthy for me. So that also helped me as well. See how that's really helped me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, when my mum came through and warned about the fire.
Yeah.
Trying to warn me. There's, all you got to do is, all you have to do is listen. So yeah, I've had some amazing messages. There was a message that came through. Now, recently I demonstrated at the church, and this gentleman came through, and he was small, he had health problems, he cooked sausages, and he was skinny, and the guy knew what this meant, and he cooked sausages in his garage. And he was really skinny.
Of all places to cook sausages.
Yeah, I know,
okay.
but he died. Anyway, and he talked about boats. This guy did like boats. But what was really interesting is that I forgot about this recipient. He came to see me years ago, apparently. He said to me, I came with my wife, and during the reading, you told my wife that her father had died, and she said, no, he's still alive. And after she left, she found out her father had died. It was mind-blowing. But then not only that, I also told him about this special thing to do with boats. I won't go into detail, but it was something I was getting a vision of, something unusual to do with boats. And he didn't know what it meant at the time. And he's really dealing with something to do with boats, and he's dealing with a miracle with this. And I got that 10 years ago. So that came through. Someone who passed away from the spirit world gave me this vision of something that guiding him to something he didn't even know about, giving him clues about the future. And what was really interesting is that when I saw him, I was able to give him a bit more information after the church. So the messages are really, really important, and they're getting the evidence is important because it gives you the peace to know that they're okay, but they don't just come through for that reason. They come through because they want to help you with your life. And the messages to me are just as important as evidence. But without the evidence, the messages have no power.
Yeah, you can't give any weight to it.
You can't give any weight to it.
Yeah.
But you see, once you get that amazing evidence, you know without a doubt that it's going to be a lot more believable, isn't it? And it's going to really help people a lot.
Right, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, not only with their grief, but the way forward as well, giving them hope.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
So people come to for a mediumship reading to talk with their loved ones and past ones. Can they do this themselves outside of a reading?
Oh, absolutely. And Reese Wynne Davis talked about this as well, because some people think that only special people can be mediums. I have to say that some people are more natural, some people are more inclined. So some people have got natural talents in life, and I feel that some people have got more of a natural ability and a tendency towards mediumship than others. But it doesn't mean that nobody can develop as a medium, and with that means you can definitely connect to your loved ones in spirit yourself. I'd like to think when I've passed away, hopefully I outlive you, I'm sure I will, that you can communicate with me. I'd want that.
That you hope that you're going to outlive them.
I hope that, no. I hope not. I said, I hope that
right.
I outlive you. Yeah. No, sorry. I hope that you outlive me. Sorry.
Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah, I was getting a bit worried there.
No. Sorry,
Yeah.
got that right. No, hopefully, you outlive me.
Yes.
Sorry.
Like-
Sorry. That's
okay.
I got that wrong.
You're good. I knew what you were trying to say.
Yeah. So hopefully you outlive me.
Yeah.
But you never know. But I would say that you will outlive me, right? It's more than likely. And I hope that one day when I'm not here that I will communicate to you and that you can speak to me. Because after all these podcasts, I hope that you've learned how to do that. And anybody can do that. So it just comes out just by talking in your mind and asking your loved one, your child, your mother, your sister, your friend, your husband. Just say to them, please, can you communicate with me? But don't tell them how. Don't be controlling. Just say, please, can you communicate? And allow them to communicate with you. And you can communicate with them if you allow it. If you're too controlling, you're going to squash the energy and you're going to stop it. You've got to be open. You've got to be creative to allow the process. And it will happen. Absolutely will happen. And which is beautiful, is that this gorgeous lady, she came to see me. I talks to my soul because she's so feminine and she's so gorgeous and she's so pretty. And she's come for a few readings with me, and her mum has passed away. And she's a real advocate for me, and she's told people about me. And I bumped into her yesterday, and she said to me, I can feel my mum around me all the time. And I think sometimes when you go to a medium, that can allow people to then open up to the spirit world more themselves. I know someone else I know is really heartbroken losing their husband. They've been to me many times. They've been to my workshops. They can now develop that gift themselves. They have their own unique gift themselves. So yes, absolutely. It can sometimes, going to me can help trigger that with someone.
Yeah,
and they start being more
makes
open
sense.
and they start understanding how it works.
Yeah, they understand the process. Yeah,
Yeah,
a bit more.
absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
But there's something just incredible and wonderful about going to someone else. Even if you can communicate yourself, there's something absolutely incredible, amazing and wonderful when you get evidential mediumship given to you from another medium. It's just, I'll never forget what Eileen Davies has given me. I'll never forget what Margaret Simpson's given me. Meg Simpson, how much it helped me and how much it meant to me. And it's only been a few mediums throughout my life have given me amazing evidence, and I always refer to it. If you get a really great medium and they know nothing about you and they give you this evidence and it's just amazing and helps with your grief, it'll just change your life forever. You'll never be the same and it'll stay with you forever. It's a huge gift.
Right. Okay. And so what happens if someone has a negative experience with a medium and they don't get that evidence or they don't get that resolution of grief? What can they do?
Yeah, that's really sad. That's really sad, actually.
I imagine it happens though.
Oh, it does happen. Or unfortunately, I don't know, there could be some psychics or mediums that give them information that does not, I don't want to put anybody down, but does not sit right, it's not correct. It can be like inflammatory, it can invoke fear in people and anxiety, and readings shouldn't do that. Spirit world's not like that, and psychics and mediums shouldn't do. We help to encourage and empower others and help them heal. So I have had a few people that are really, because so being a medium and something that Reese Wynn Davies said, it's a huge responsibility. The information you give to others can really affect them hugely. So if you go to a medium, have a bad experience, please go to another medium. It's a bit like, actually, I know somebody who recently had a terrible dentist. And it's caused them terrible pain in their life. I know other people getting to terrible doctors. I mean, I love the medical profession, but doctors bury their mistakes, as my dad said. Accountants can give bad advice. Lawyers can give bad advice. I mean, I'm sure, what do you do if you're not happy? If you go to a doctor, what do? You go and get a second opinion. It's just common sense. Yeah, and it's an investment in yourself. It's an investment in yourself. It really is. It's truly worth it.
Makes
sense. So if it doesn't feel good, go to another medium. Yeah, but do your research. Yep. Make sure they've got good references. I think that's important. Did you do due diligence? If you do...
Just like you would with any other service you get, right? Like most products these days, if I go to buy a washing machine, I'll have a look at the reviews, or
absolutely.
Get a tradesperson, I'll generally look at the reviews. So
and
treat this the same way.
I believe that recommendations are really good as well. Yeah, really good. So go to someone else. And I think there's something that Reese William Davies said to me, and it really spoke to my heart, is that, and it just made sense to me, because I'd also been watching Sense and Murder, and I watched the other mediums. There was Deb Weber and Karen Anderson, and I learnt so much from watching it 6 years later about how they had different ways. Every medium works differently, and they have different evidence in the way that they gave things. And it was like a real team effort. It was really special. And so I think also you can have a mediumship reading with a medium, and you can go to another medium and just get even more information, or see you can piece it together. That's okay as well. But if you have a bad experience, if you have a really bad experience, you feel really upset, I'd get a reading as soon as you can from somewhere else.
Okay.
Because it can play havoc with your mind.
Yeah.
Because it plays with your psyche, and I've had that happen myself.
Yeah.
And it's not nice. Yeah.
Understandable.
Yeah, but all I know is that when I give a mediumship reading, or a psychic reading, or both when I do together, I do my utmost. I do my best. I really try really hard to do as much as I can to help that other person. I can't say it's always going to work, but generally it does. And it can be difficult people that, and I remember having a very difficult woman, and she went out and she said something. She said, "Oh, well, at least she helped me with my foot and my ankle." That's about all I got out of it. And then I sent her to a chiropractor. And unfortunately she had the same experience with her, so they're going to be like that with everyone. It's hard not to take it to heart sometimes, but generally people are pretty good. And I think as a recipient, do your research, but come with an open heart, open mind, keep yourself safe, realize we've got free will, give the medium a chance, give them encouragement, be open, and a confirmation I think is really good. It's really helpful. At the same time, if it doesn't feel right, then you don't have to take it on. I mean, you've got that. You're allowed to do that. Anybody's allowed to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that someone I know recently has gone to a drama class, and I've encouraged it, and a young person, and they just didn't like it, and they're going to go somewhere else. They've got a right to do that.
Fair enough.
Like anything in life, yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say that, I have to say that mediumship can certainly help with grief. But grief is a journey. And this took me a long time to understand this as a medium, because I thought that my job was to fix it. So I've had the most incredible evidence, and the most backed up, the most incredible messages, and authenticity, and the feeling and the love, and how it's really touched that person. I always had this sort of belief that I was fixing it for people, and over time, and being a funeral celebrant and a wedding celebrant, I realised that's not my job, and that grief is a process. I know it's helped me Mediumship has definitely helped with my own personal grief, and I know that mediumship will help you along your journey. But grief is a personal process.
Yeah. I guess connecting with the loved one is just one part of that process,
Of the
right?
grief
There's lots of things
process.
you need
Lots of
to do.
things that you do, because you may get really good evidence, they're still alive and they're still there, but at the same time, you're going to miss their physical presence.
Mm-hmm.
If you've lost your partner, you're not going to wake up in the bed with them anymore. You're not going to have dinner together. It's little funny jokes that you had together. All those little things, you're going to really miss those things. I remember in a broken relationship once that we had to learn how to do a fire hydrant, how to do it. And that person that I've been in a relationship with is really into health and safety, and you know who it was, do with fires, putting fires out. And I was really upset because I wasn't with that person. I couldn't share that with them. So it's all these little things that people in a relationship or someone they're close to, and I just thought, I wish I could talk to my mum. I remember after my mum died, I went to ring her one day, and it's just these little things that can really get to you. And what will happen with grief as well, it will come to you unexpectedly, because I was at Arthur Finney College after your Uncle Sean died, after my brother died, and I went to his funeral and I had to do a wedding afterwards, and I didn't mind. I didn't go to his wake. I just need to go to his funeral. I was okay with that. And then I was at the Arthur Finney College and I broke down outside. I just suddenly, the grief hit me. I was sobbing and sobbing. And what was the worst thing? This medium, this lady was trying to help me, and she was trying to logically work out why I was upset. And she's trying to tell me why I was upset. And she's saying to me, oh, it's because you didn't go to his wake, and for a reason for it. And it made it worse.
Yeah.
I didn't need a reason for it. All I know is this deep emotion just bubbled up inside me and came out. And it came out at that time. And it just came out. And it can happen. I've broken down a few times with grief. And it hits you at the moment. It's like waves at the most unexpected time. Yeah, but some of the things we grieve about, because one of the things I grieved about with my father is that he never got to travel, and he didn't see all the ruins in Rome and everything. And I was crying in Rome when I was there with my partner, because his dad had died 6 weeks earlier. And then he came through another medium years later saying, telling me at the time I was crying about him not seeing these ruins, and he's there the whole time. How amazing was that?
Yeah, that helps, right?
That was just incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, so mediumship's helped me a lot more. And I think with the passing of my own loved ones, I feel in my family, I can't speak to them, but I remember one of my family members said they've never dealt with the passing of my father. They said they couldn't deal with it, but I know that I have, and I know that the mediumship's helped me process that, and I feel that's really helped me so much, hugely. So definitely, it's not going to fix it, but it's definitely going to help a lot.
Yeah, it's going to help. It'll
help speed up the process, because it's a bit like if you go to get a wound and you put something on it to help speed up the process,
Yeah.
Get it treated properly. Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so it definitely can.
Oh, great.
So that's what you can expect in the mediumship reading.
Yeah. Well, that sums it up really nicely.
Yeah. So I hope you've enjoyed this podcast, and make sure you do your research. If you're going to have a reading with a medium, you can see more than one medium. There's no rules about how often you can see a medium. It's really up to you. It's personal to you. Remember, you can also connect to spirit. I am doing a workshop on the 1st of March, and it's called Spiritual Attunement. It's about how you can blend and attune with spirit. You can book this through my website, kerrymarie.co.nz. You can also book a reading with me, either psychic or mediumship. If you like this podcast, please like it. And to help the podcast, we invite you to subscribe. Blessings and love, Kerry Marie.